What's good? It's your girl Tracy AWM, and today I am going to talk about mass bands. And the purpose of this presentation is just to give you a general premise or understanding of a structure of a mass band. If you're a brand new masquerader and you've never played mass before, you may be really confused about some of the things that you might hear, especially when it's time for you to register or actually participate in Carnival. If you're a brand new masquerader and you have come to my page, I am so grateful that you chose me to be part of your learning experience. So a little bit about me. I actually started playing mass for the very first time back in 2015. I was going through a nasty divorce. I had some serious issues with body positivity, and I went out there for the very first time in Atlanta DeKalb Carnival, and it changed my life, and I have been chasing carnivals ever since. And my goal is just to bring the love of Carnival to you from a masquerader perspective and from an educated masquerader perspective. So I do not only just teach you about Caribbean Carnival tips and tricks, but I also like to teach you a little bit of culture so you can just connect and appreciate the Caribbean Carnival experience a little bit more. Let's move on. So I have to tell you guys, from the very first time you play mass, it is a 99.999% chance that it is going to change your life and you will be addicted to the experience. You will probably become a long-term masquerader, but you will not understand why it's such an incredible experience until you actually get out there. But yes, Carnival is life-changing and it is highly addictive, but it's a lot of fun. And for me, I personally like to use it as part of my healing experience, as part of my mental wellness and my overall well-being. Okay, so some quick disclaimers. I am not a representative of any mass band or organization. I am not a representative of any mass band or organization. My platform is my platform, and my purpose of this platform is to teach you, but I am not doing this on behalf of any organization, nor is this content sponsored. Also, this is a general guideline. As you continue to participate in Caribbean Carnival, you might notice some nuances in that, some mass bands run things a little bit differently. All the bands, they all have their separate business model. The most important thing is that I want you to be able to make informed decisions, and I want you to be comfortable in the decisions that you make. So the more you understand about mass bands and Caribbean Carnival and all the things that I'm going to talk to you about, the more comfortable I feel you will be into taking the plunge to have your very first experience. Okay. So the first question is, what exactly is a mass band? Mass is short for masquerade. If you ever heard like a masquerade ball, people will mask themselves up to emulate a character or a theme of something. When you participate in Caribbean Carnival, you are a masquerader, and you're participating with what is called a band. A band is a group, troupe, or a group of people that will come together to emulate a theme of a band. When I played mass for the very first time, I really thought that, I had to apply to play with a band. I thought I had to sign up or audition or get approval to join a band. And it's definitely not the case. I didn't know any better. Luckily, my sister kind of guided the way for that, and she got me set up to go play mass with her back in 2015 in Atlanta. The most important thing I want you guys to understand is that Carnival is for all shapes, sizes, and ages and cultural backgrounds. I apologize for the typo. I just saw that, but all are welcome. Now, ages is kind of an asterisk because we have Kiddies Carnival, and I think depending on the location of the carnival, that could be up to ages 16 or 17, or sometimes some Caribbean Carnival events will allow kids to play with permission of their parents. When you play mass, you are going to have an experience. A lot of people, when they see Caribbean Carnival, they see the costume, but they don't understand everything that goes into the carnival experience. It is more than a costume. It is vibes, food, music, culture, and so much more. So what exactly do mass bands do? They portray a theme. Every year, or several times a year, depending on the size of the band or whether or not they travel, they have to portray a theme, and they will create or use costumes in different sections to emulate an overall presentation. In other words, Caribbean Carnival and the bands are somewhat like a theatrical presentation. Of course, the commercialization of the Caribbean Carnival experience kind of shies away of it from that aspect, but it really is a theatrical presentation, and a lot of love goes into it from the band leaders and the section leaders and the designers. They also provide an amazing experience for you, so of course you can want to continue to come back, and sometimes they compete. Competition is the spirit, is part of the human spirit, and so we found that over time a lot of bands, they compete for best band. Sometimes there's prizes, sometimes there's bragging rights. It just really depends, but sometimes these bands do compete against each other. So let's take a look at a quick structure of a mass band. Okay, and this is very, very plain. Okay, so at the top you have mass band. Okay, this mass band, and then you have a theme. Now in each of the sections below, okay, those are different themes. Now if you look to the right here, you will see that I have something that is called a private section. In a lot of cases, but not all, the sections are pushed by section leaders who are members of that band. But sometimes you will have people that are outside the band that are not members of that band join a band for that particular event, and they are called private sections. People that run private sections have no stake or ownership in that band, nor are they really in control with a lot of the decisions that is made about the band. They pretty much pay to get into the band, they pay a fee, and then they have to market their costumes on their own to get you to register to play in their section up underneath that band. I hope that makes sense. Bands can have a whole bunch of sections. I've seen some bands where they've only had 3 or 4. And for Miami Carnival, there's a band that released 16 sections. So just because you see just a few circles here doesn't mean that a band is limited to that many sections. It can be as big as it wants to be, or as big as it's allowed. So let's take a look at an actual section. At the top, you see section, and then on the bottom, you see different categories. On the left, you see individual queen, and as you move to the right, you will see backline. The little dollar sign is a representative of the fact that the costumes get more and more expensive. And I probably should have flipped it the other way, and I'll probably redo that. Okay, so the more ornate or the more special the costume is, the more feathers and frills and trims and gems that goes into a costume, the more expensive it's going to be. Your individual or your queen costumes are going to be more expensive. Now, in some places, an individual and queen costume are separate. In other places, a queen and an individual would be the same thing. Then you have your front line. Those are the ones that have the big feathers. Your midline is kind of in between your back line and your front line. So the beautiful thing about playing mass is that there are styles that are designed to match your budget. If you are a budget masquerader and you know you can only spend so much money for a costume, you might want to go with a backline costume. So let's do a quick case study. One Island Mass Band released their costumes for Miami Carnival 2022. Okay, these are 4 of these 16 sections for One Island Mass Band. Their theme is fashion brands. So what they chose to do was to create costumes in inspiration of high fashion brands. On the left, I think that was a representation of Dolce & Gabbana. The one second to the right, you have Be Fine. The other one is Kenzo, and the last one on the far right is actually inspired by Cartier. Okay, so let's take a look at a section here. So Alta Moda was actually inspired by Dolce & Gabbana, and what I have here on the far left is their frontline costume. Okay, I think it's frontline or ultra frontline. All right, so you take a look at this costume, and it has a lot going on, right? You got the feathers, you got the butterflies, you got the flowers on the shoulders. A lot of pizzazz is put into an ultra frontline or a frontline costume. The backpacks are made of wire, and the feathers are very expensive, and the materials that they use to cut the plastic that they made to create the little butterflies, a lot of time, attention, and detail goes into that costume. So of course your ultra frontline and frontline is going to be more expensive. Now in the middle here, we have a backline costume. Classically, a backline costume has just been like a bra and panty and some arm and leg pieces. and a simple headpiece. Over time, that is starting to evolve a little bit. But as you can see, this backline costume does not have any of the frills that is on the left, the ultra front line. But the good thing about that is it's made cheaper. Now, I can do a whole other presentation about the different types of costumes and why some people may choose a backline over a front line and whatnot, but we'll get into that at another installation. On the far right, one of the points I really want to drive home is that men play mask too. Yes, they say Carnival is women, but men play mask too. They do make costumes for men. And if you are interested in participating in Caribbean Carnival and you're a man and you think that you can't wear feathers, you can wear feathers. I'm going to show you guys another section. Okay. So this is another section. This section is called Chance, inspired by Chanel. On the far left-hand side, you see an ultra frontline costume. I mean, do you see the difference between that ultra frontline and backline? Like that ultra frontline is like, oh my God, why are you so extra? And then the front line has a lot going on too, but the body wear is just a little bit simpler, but not by much, and fewer feathers. And also, you know, sometimes costumes are priced by the types of feathers that are in it. I'm not going to get into the different names of the feathers, but if you can see those black and white feathers that are on the far left-hand side, those are called Lady Amherst or zebra tail. I can't tell. And you don't have those feathers that are in the front line because those feathers, Lady Amherst and zebra tails, are actually way more expensive than the feathers that are used in the front line. It looks like there might be some ringnecks and some nandus in there, and those are definitely cheaper materials. So when you have an ultra front line to a front line, it's all about the types of materials that is used to construct that costume. Taking a look at the backline costume, you see a bra and a panty. It's jeweled, okay, and she's got a thigh piece and she's got arm pieces and a simple headpiece. Super cute, definitely much more budget friendly. But the great thing about this comparison is you guys can see how much goes into the front line and the back line and why they're actually so much more expensive. On the far right hand side, we have a male costume, and it's just a demonstration of the fact that men too can wear feathers. If you want to wear the feathers, go ahead and rock the feathers. Be happy, do you. You spend your money. Carnival is all about a freedom of expression. Buy the costume, okay? All right. So bands compete, and I say mostly because some bands do not compete and some bands do. The bands have to decide as to whether or not they want to participate. But a lot of times, especially at Miami Carnival, off the top of my head, Trinidad Carnival, a lot of bands compete for best band, okay? And when you're going through the parade, okay, a lot of times the masqueraders can intermingle with each other and do whatever they want, but up until they get to a judging point called the stage. And if you're a brand new masquerader and you've heard music before, they talk about ready for the stage. This is exactly what they're talking about. They're ready to go on the staging point. All right. Bands compete for bragging rights and or other prizes. So they definitely want to make sure that you're a happy masquerader, because if you didn't get done right or you're having a terrible time, you're not going to show up and show out when it's time to cross that stage. A lot of times mass bands get judged by not by costumes, but also by how energetic and lively their masqueraders are. And that is why I say a lot of times mass bands provide an experience. They want you to be turned up and happy, so you can loosen up and do your thing and just be like, put on a great presentation for the stage. Like I said, you are part of a theatrical production. So they're going to provide you that experience that's going to encourage you to just turn up on the stage. All right. So we're almost done here. Like I said, mass bands provide an experience. So these are just some pictures of me at my previous Caribbean Carnival experiences. I've gone to Hollywood Carnival. I've done Raleigh. I've done Hollywood. I did Hollywood twice. I got 2 pictures from Hollywood Carnival. Done Miami, and I got to go to Trinidad in 2022. Looking forward to 2023. Okay, so they provide an experience, but there's a lot of things to learn about it. And I think based on how this presentation goes, I may go ahead and do another installment of the slideshow. I think this is going to be really helpful for the people that need the visuals to understand. So if you want to get in touch with me, there are different ways to do it. I am AWM Carnival on Instagram. You can email me at hello@americanwinesmatter.com. My website is American Wines Matter. Same thing with TikTok and Facebook. Be sure to hit me up. hit my if you go over to my Instagram, be sure to hit my who to follow highlights. It details all of the West Indian content creators that are on the scene that have been doing this a lot longer than me. I am not an expert on all things, and I want you to go ahead and give back to the West Indian community, because mainly where do you think I learned this stuff from? I'm just trying to get you to come out there and play mass. But be sure to check out the other West Indian content creators that are on the scene. And we also have people that are representing other perspective. We have male perspective. We have plus size masqueraders. We have educational platforms, especially Know Your Caribbean, so you can start to learn a little bit about Caribbean culture. My goal is to help you understand what Carnival is about, also give you some tips and tricks, but I really want to help you to deeply connect to the Caribbean Carnival experience so you can talk about it from an educated perspective and share that knowledge with others. I do hope to see you on the road. If you wanted some help in picking out your costume, if you got any questions or concerns, hit me up. I am most responsive on my Instagram. Hit my DMs. I even hit my message requests. Sometimes I'm good and sometimes I'm bad with Facebook. I'm starting to get better with that. But there's a lot of ways to get in touch with me. So hit me up if you got any questions. Most importantly, hit up my website. I've got a whole bunch of tips and tricks. On my Instagram, I also have a series of videos to educate you about how to prepare for Caribbean Carnival. I've got some educational stuff on there too. Everything you need is pretty much at your fingertips. Hit that little video tabs. Have a whole bunch of videos there, and sometimes I hit out some pretty cool reels. So anyways, I hope this was super helpful to you. Hit me up if you need anything, and I cannot wait to see you on the road.